Welcome, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers, James and Justin, back again. Now, we are going to continue this series of diving into spiritual scriptures, and today we are going to open up the Qur'an and take a look at what I can only presume is the most popular verse in the Qur'an, and that comes from our audience, who sends us in the comment box this verse over and over. We've probably received it over 100 times over all the reactions we've done. People like to send this verse out. So we're just going to take a look at it and talk about what we've seen from this verse. So
you asked for it.
I tracked it down. It comes out of the 22nd Surah, the Al-Hajj, and it's verse 46. And so I'm just going to read it out. Now, people don't even send the first part of this verse. They just send the second half. But I'm going to read the full verse for everyone out there. So the verse says, "Have they not journeyed in the land and had minds to reason with, or ears to listen with? ? It is not the eyes that go blind, but it is the hearts within the chests that go blind." So, I've been thinking about this verse. I thought a little bit about this verse today. I had maybe a little bit more time than you to think about it because you just hearing it like right now. And I tend to go through all the comments. So I spent some time thinking about this verse today. And the first thing that comes to mind is the symbol going here. And I was thinking like, you know what I thought about? I thought about, like if someone was blind and they ran into a post, would you laugh at them, or would you scoff at them, or would you help that person who is blind? Would you redirect them? What would be the attitude of dealing with someone who is blind?
Depends on if your heart's blind or not.
Well, again, let's come back to the symbol part of this, right? Because it's referencing the heart. It's saying that the heart is the blind. And let's get a focus in here on the heart. And I'm trying to put myself into kind of like the Islamic shoes, like what is the heart? What are they taking as that symbol to be?
It's in the chest.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, but a heart isn't literally blind. It's maybe supernaturally blind because the heart in most cultures represents like the essence, where the values and the character come out of the person. And we talk a lot about on this channel the ego. You might be able to take heart and ego and compare them with the same thing here, right? Because if a heart is blind, what is it blind to? Is it blind to how it should be acting, what it should be reaching out and chasing? What is blind about the heart?
Do you want me to respond?
Sure.
Okay,
jump in.
I'm pairing it with the beginning part that talks about like these people have eyes to see, ears to hear, minds to reason, but it's their hearts that are blind. Their hearts that are blind. Their hearts that are blind. You feel with your heart. I'm going to go off the cuff here. This is what I with my being can come up with. You feel empathy with your heart. You feel anger with your heart, with your insides, with here. It can go up into your head and there can be tension in there and you can reason all sorts of things. But the feelings seem to come from there. And oftentimes thoughts are connected with feelings, especially if you've been entrained sufficiently. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some people are entrained to be compassionate. When I was a kid, there were some things I did wrong that I got a good yelling at, and there was fear put in. I'm worried about you that you don't realize this is a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I'm doing this later on, Oh, I'm scared. And I'm forcing those feelings downwards, But children are always looking at the adults. They're always looking at what the adults are really doing. They're always looking at them after they come home from their religious meetings and they're talking crap about the other people that were there. They're looking at the parents and all the mistakes they make. And then they're getting guilt put in about things, all sorts of things. You can make somebody feel guilt about anything. Yeah. Imagine I said it's bad to wear NASA shirts. That was taught to me when I was a kid. Like, just indoctrinated on how terrible that was.
Yeah.
And right now I felt shameful guilt about it. I'd feel a lot of those feelings in my heart.
Yeah.
So the instruction seems to be about something that's not quite right with your heart. What's going on with your heart, bruh? Don't you feel? Shouldn't you be compelled to be a certain way? Where's the God in you? It's in your heart cavity.
Yeah.
The chest casing.
Yeah.
That's where it is. So a lot goes on there. And the ego, to me, what the heck is the ego? I'm not dismissing what you're saying, but the ego maybe can reside in the mind a little bit. If the ego has been convinced sufficiently, it might direct a lot of its sensations to your foot. It might be like, I can always tell when something's going on because my foot goes crazy and starts twitching, or my eyelid goes weird. Or
what is the heart blind to? Because is it blind to what it is being told to believe? Or is it being blind to denying its natural experience? So what would happen to a heart if you let it organically figure itself out versus telling it what it needs to figure out?
Well, we all grow up with the scientific explanation. You know what happens to a person that with no human influence?
Yeah.
It's monstrous. They sit in a room and all they can do is one activity, and they can't talk, and they're all these different things, right? A lot of human fear and human disgust impulse, wrapped up into that. But it's a good question. What happens when you let a child sort of undoctrinate them? What kind of a person does that turn into? I think about some of the tales of Osho's childhood. Yeah. He's like, I was pretty much allowed to do what I wanted, and I learned my lessons from the river.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm certainly not making fun of him. I'm just... Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit. I don't mean to offend anyone.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that some of the things I see have been even a benefit to me, or when I had an opportunity to be just left alone. You know what I mean? Some of the people that are some of the biggest head cases had a lot of pressure put on them when they were growing up. Had a lot of adult, involvement. Yeah. If you mother a kid too much, they could become not able to fend for themselves. Or if you push them out too early, or if you put ideas into their head, that could be damaging, and affect their heart and affect how they feel guilt and how they feel, righteousness and all these different things. Yeah. It's a good question. What happens if you let it just happen without trying to entrain the heart?
Yeah.
What happens?
Well,
then?
Organically, they will have to figure it out through experience anyway. So, like I'm saying, the reason I brought up the blind person running into a post, how silly would it be for us to laugh at that person running into a post? The person whose heart's blind, how silly is it for us to judge them? And because they haven't figured out through their experience yet, it hasn't unlocked for them to have the sight that this verse might be referencing. And there's also a lot, like the people who have sent this verse to us in the comments box, you haven't sent us any context around it. You've sent it because you're hoping that this verse will speak to us in some way. And so we're letting it as like the mystic does, or without all the surrounding context, because that's the way it was given to us. Let it marinate over us and try to take it in and understand it in our own way.
I'm thinking about this hypothetical blind person you keep mentioning, and I think about actually paired against another verse in another text that says something like, every man is quick to tell tales of the good they've done, but a virtuous man, who can find one, or something like that. And people are quick to tell stories about that time I just got a feeling. I got a feeling I should step in, and I stepped in, I saved the day. That 1 out of a 99 time. Because how many times, what if you went to go help this person that's blind, see him walking down the road and he runs into a pole and you're like, whoa, man, here, let me help you. And he's like, no, don't help me. Yeah. I'm trying to learn how to walk on my own. Yeah. If you guide me everywhere I go, I'll never get this echolocation thing down. You don't know the whole circumstance.
Yeah.
But if you're adamant that you do know, you might beat the guy for not letting you help him. No, let me go. I'm trying to do it. But I know what's right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I know what you need. Stop thinking you know what everybody needs. Yeah. Me and all of us.
Yeah. I don't even know totally why I picked that scenario there. It just came to my mind. For some reason, it was speaking to me. So that's why I brought it up. This whole idea of like blindness and being able to see something. And how, you know, we will figure out the correct sight through our individual experience. It's not always best to tell someone exactly how it should be. Sometimes they won't truly know it until they've gone through the journey themselves to figure out that thing, right? And so that's just where I was kind of sitting with on this verse. This was just what came to my mind.
Right.
Anyway, guys, this is just a first take at this. We're going to continue going through these scriptures and just taking them, as they come, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone till next time,
Stay spiritual.